morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Friday, January 11th, 2019.
Commissioner Garcia, Cabello, James, Davis, and Jacinto are present. President James, we do have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Chi Ming Gong with the Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Eddie Chavez with the Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Michael Simpson with the LA Sand.
Good morning, Shirley Lau, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, John Olinger, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we did not receive any speaker cards under general public comment. We also do not have any commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section. We did receive a speaker card on item number 2.
Okay, let's close general public comment as well as the Neighborhood Council category of commentary. Is there a second to my motion that we approve the meeting minutes from the meeting of Friday, November 30th, 2018 by Commissioner Cabello? Any objection? Without objection, we will approve those meeting minutes. A couple of administrative items as soon as I can find the proper form for me. Agenda item number 11 is being withdrawn by the Executive Office, and agenda item number 14 is being withdrawn because Lisa Mowry already has done that this quarter. So those two items are withdrawn. Agenda item number 12, specifications submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids. This is in Council District 11 for the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant Service Water Facility Improvements. Work order estimates $1,900,000. The bid receipt date is February 27th, 2019. Is there a second to my motion that we approve agenda item number 12 forthwith by Commissioners Davis, Cabello, and Garcia? Any objection? Without objection, that'll be the order. We have requested, let's do a couple of authority for expenditures. Number 9, authority for expenditure, State Water Resource Control Board. The Bureau of Sanitation and the Office of Accounting are requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $26,094 to pay for annual renewal for Environmental Monitoring Division ELAP certificate. The authority is to cover the period starting February 1, 2019 until March 31, 2020, so it looks like it's about 14 months. Mahesh Pujari.
Hi, good morning and Happy New Year to all of you. I'm Dr. Mahesh Pujari and I'm the Assistant Division Manager of PMD. And I'm here to explain why you need that $15,000, $15,506 to pay for the ELA fee for the Hyperion Laboratory. For your information, we're proud that the EMD laboratory at Hyperion is one of the largest laboratories in the country. And for your information, we rank top 2% best laboratory in the nation. So we're proud of that. And in order to support the city, we run approximately over 200,000 analyses, which is legally mandated with various programs or various city departments. And I'm here for your approval. This fee should be paid to the water board so that we can operate the lab. And for your information, our license to operating the laboratory will cease on January 31st, another 15-20 days. So this is urgent matter. I'm requesting you to approve it so that we can have the check and we send to the water board.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on our need to pay this bill? Commissioner Cabello has made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 9, seconded by Commissioner Garcia. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 9. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any issue sending number 9 forthwith? We'll send number 9 forthwith. Agenda item number 10, Council District 3, Secondary Sewer Renewal Program, Ventura Boulevard and Tampa Avenue. Recommending that the board reject all bids for the above named project and return to the board to re-advertise the project at a later date. Mr. Pedroza, hi.
Good morning, President James. I'm Richard Pedroza with the Bureau of Engineering, Wastewater Conveyance Engineering Division. The motion before the board this morning is for recommendation for the board to reject all bids on this project. We advertised this project at $1.8 million to repair about 7.7 miles of sewers 8 to 15 inches in diameter. We received 6 bids. The low bid was about 64% higher than the CE's estimate, and that was primarily due to many spot repairs where the contractors, the progress for the repairs is slow, and as such, it's has a higher dollar amount per foot. And so what we looked at was the nature of the repairs. We wanted to take the project back and take a second look at it and reassess it for perhaps trenchless sort of repairs. And as such, we would expect it to be more cost-effective if we took the project back and then re-advertised it at a later date.
Okay, the bids came in too high, and we need to get the numbers down. One way or another, Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Rich, this is secondary sewer renewal. None of these are emergency. None of these
They're not, yeah.
So we're okay in terms of taking the time to be able to reevaluate the scope of work and package it up so
That's right.
it's more efficient.
Yeah, since the unit costs were too high, we felt that digging and replacing to make these repairs was not the cost-effective approach. So,
Okay, that's prudent. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that a motion, Commissioner Jacinto? I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 10. Any issue sending number 10 forthwith? We'll send number 10 forthwith. Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Agenda item number 7 is authority for expenditure. Loyola Marymount University, Bureau of Sanitation and Office of Accounting are requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $40,000 to pay for registration fees for up to 15 Bureau of Engineering employees to attend the Loyola Marymount University Spring 19 Sustainability Certificate Program at Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles, beginning January 14, 2019, which is Monday. Mr. Cirillo, you will tell us what everybody's doing going back to school.
Good morning, Mike Cirillo with the Bureau of Engineering. So this is the second year of this program, and it came out of our strategic plan, which one of our goals was continuing education. And we decided to make that a goal and formed a partnership with LMU, which is right near Hyperion. So it was a good synergy between the two locations. And it really provides a two-way benefit. So it provides a continuing education for our employees to go and learn about different types of topics, such as sustainability or wastewater or whatever. And then it also provides us a way to identify key recruit aspects for LMU students that are good recruits. So when we go there and interview, we have already met them and we get to know them. And LMU likes it because their students can talk to our employees about what it's like to work for the city and what it's like to work for government. So it really benefits both organizations. So we formed a partnership a few years ago, and this is just a continuation of that. And we have enrolled up to 15 students. Right now we have about 12 students enrolled. And classes start with this approval of this AFE. Classes would begin at the end of January.
Okay, and if anybody's interested in the names, they're in the transmittals, the attachments.
They are.
Yes. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you. Mike, this is great, whether it's Envision, getting certified in Envision or this in terms of sustainability. And this is course 1. I see it circled.
Yeah, there's three courses you need to take to get a certificate, and this is the first course out of 3.
And so the strategy is that they're going to take all 3 to
Yeah,
get
they
their
must. When
certificate?
they enroll with this program, they must agree to take all 3 courses.
Okay. And they're in a cohort with other LMU students.
They are. It's a mixed. It's a master's level course, and it's say maybe 20 to 25 LMU students, and then about 5 or 6 BOE or 10 BOE, whatever the mix is.
So as you said, so we can help recruit and get them to understand that working for the city of Los Angeles and Bureau of Engineering is a great thing. You guys want to come on down and
Come and work for us. Yeah.
Excellent. So this is great. Let's continue to do this because it's part of the strategic plan, and it had your name on it, Mike. So thank you for your leadership on it because it's so important.
It is.
To train and develop our staff so that they could be the best for the Bureau and for the department and for the city. So good to go. Thank you.
Sounds like the second motion in a row by Commissioner Jacinto. I'll second it. Any objection? Well, along with Commissioners Garcia and Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 7. Thank you, Mr. Cirillo. Any issue sending 7 forthwith? We'll send number 7 forthwith. Number 8, Authority for Expenditure State Water Resource Control Board, Bureau of Sanitation and Office of Accounting are requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $140,614.91 to pay for property taxes as levied by the Kern County Treasurer Tax Collector. It is that time of the year. This authority is to cover for the period of July 1, 2018 through June 30th, 2019, the current fiscal year. Mr. Tran.
Good morning, Mr. President, Jim, Commissioners, Mr. Jordan, Executive Officer, and Bureau Representative. My name is Alan Tran with LA Sanitation. We are here today to request the board to approve an AA. This request is to encumber the funding of $140,614.91 to pay for the property tax of the city Green Acre Farm in Kern County. This is to cover from the July 1st, 2018 to June 30, 2019. And for your information, the city owned Green Acre Farm since 2000. The farm is about 4,700 acres, and the city used the farm for land application of the city biosolids.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 8, seconded by Commissioner Cabello. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 8. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so
Any
much.
issues sending number 8 forthwith? We'll send number 8 forthwith. Agenda item number 6 is requested contract acceptance for emergency sewer and storm drain repair. This is the quarterly acceptance report, recommending that the board accept the 119 sewer and 11 storm drain projects of the emergency sewer and storm drain repair program as indicated in the attached project summaries tables. Mr. Ollinger.
Good morning, John Ollinger, Bureau of Contract Administration. I'm here to ask for your acceptance on the emergency sewer storm drain quarterly report. Accept the 119 sewer and 11 storm drain projects for the emergency sewer and storm drain repair program as indicated in the attached project summaries tables. The period covered for the emergency sewer repair projects completed was from 2015 to July 17, 2018. The period covered for the emergency storm drain projects completed was from 2015 to January 30th, 2018. The emergency projects represented in this quarterly report were initiated by the Bureau of Sanitation to make necessary repairs to the city's sewer and storm drain systems. These 130 construction orders represent a subset of the emergency sewer and storm drain work inspected by BCA during this reporting period. Are there any questions?
Any questions at all regarding these? This was some years ago, I think it was maybe 2014, that our board confirmed the Bureau's collective request that you be allowed to bring these in one group rather than burdening the agenda with a bunch of these items that are typically small and fairly routine, just by way of background. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 6, seconded by Commissioners Garcia, Davis, and Cabello. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 6. Thank you, sir. Any issues sending 6 forthwith? We will send number 6 forthwith. Agenda item number 5 is also a contract acceptance capital improvement project, Los Angeles Glendale Water Reclamation Plan nitrification and denitrification blower procurement, equipment procurement contracts. Recommending that the board accept the contract. Mr. Ollinger again today.
Good morning, John Ollinger, Bureau of Contract Administration. I'm here to ask for your acceptance on the Los Angeles Glendale Water Reclamation Plant nitrification, denitrification blower procurement, and equipment procurement contract, SCL 11183. This contract was executed by your board on May 10th, 2013 in the amount of $4,582,648. The construction was completed August 17th, 2016 by Siemens Energy. The project provided for the installation of 3 blowers, 3 local control panels, and a master control panel, software, graphics, commissioning, startup, and training. The new blowers, including auxiliary equipment, were supplied by the City of Los Angeles to the CIP 4151 LAG Water Reclamation Plant blower installation contractor for installation. Are there any questions?
Any questions on agenda item number 5? No questions on number 5. Commissioner Davis has made a motion on number 5, seconded by Commissioner Jacinto. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 5. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 5 forthwith. Thank you, sir. Agenda item number 3, these are sanitation memorandum of agreement Dominguez Gap Barrier projects, or project, recommending that the board first approve and forward the report with the transmittal to the CAO and the Mayor's Office for Executive Directive Number 3, approval to execute the proposed Memorandum of Understanding Agreement, that's MOU, between the Bureau of Sanitation, City of Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, Los Angeles County Flood Control District, acting by and through the Los Angeles County Department of Public Works, and the Water Replenishment District of Southern California, collectively the parties, and authorize myself or 2 commissioners of the Board of Public Works to execute the MOU upon mayor and council approval. Mr. Thibodeau, how are you, sir?
Good morning, President James, commissioners, bureau leaders. I'm Lance Thibodeau, and I'm representing Terminal Island Water Reclamation Plant. As you're aware, at Terminal Island Advanced Water Purification Facility, we completed the ultimate expansion project in 2017. We're now able to produce up to 12 million gallons per day of highly purified recycled water. We're the largest producer of advanced treated recycled water in the city of LA. Now that the expansion is complete, 100% of our plant flow can be processed and delivered to prevent the seawater intrusion by recharging the Dominguez Gap Barrier, which can accept up to 7.5 million gallons per day. We also are able to provide recycled water to various harbor area industrial users, of which DWP is finalizing those contracts. To successfully produce, monitor, and coordinate the delivery of this recycled water requires the involvement of multiple parties. I'm asking for the board to execute the 4-party MOU between LA Sanitation, DWP, LA County Flood Control District, who are acted for by the LA County Department of Public Works, and the Water Replenishment District. The MOU details the responsibilities for producing, conveying, and injecting and monitoring the recycled water into the Dominguez Gap Barrier. The responsibilities of the 4 parties are, in summary, LA Sanitation is responsible for producing the advanced treated water in compliance with the Regional Water Quality Control Board permit. All of the costs to operate and maintain the AWPF for service to the barrier will be passed on from LA San to DWP. DWP delivers the recycled water from LA San's AWPF to the barrier and in the future to the other industrial customers. The barrier is owned and operated by LA County, who orders and injects the replenishment water on behalf of WRD. And then finally, WRD is responsible for the groundwater management and replenishment and purchases the recycled water from DWP for use at the Dominguez Gap Barrier. The term of this MOU is 10 years, and it can be extended with the entire term not to exceed 15 years. The MOU does not impact the general fund. This MOU just defines the responsibilities of the parties. There's no additional funding required here. The other 3 parties, as mentioned previously, they've already had their MOUs agreed upon and approved by their boards, so we're the final ones.
Great. Thank you, sir. Commissioner Davis.
As it relates to our external stakeholders, those who get the advanced treated recycled water from us that you mentioned, they get theirs from DWP through the process you just described equally. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, that recycled water comes from Terminal Island to DWP, and then they distribute it to the Dominguez Gap Barrier, and then as well as other future industrial customers. So yes, we're the provider.
So the lion's share of our product is reinvested back into the city system, is that correct?
Definitely so.
Share of it.
All of it, yes.
All of it, except for those industrial stakeholders that you mentioned, correct? Is there a potential for the growth and development of more industrial consumers for the product that we're producing?
So at this point, we're able to produce 12 million gallons per day of the recycled water. we at Terminal Island are not able to produce anymore because the amount of influent is limited. And so this would allow us to maximize that opportunity. So all of the recycled water that we're able to produce, most of which will go to the Dominguez Gap Barrier, but DWP, as mentioned, is finalizing the agreements with the industrial users to take the rest of that water.
Is the revenues that we are able to obtain from the industrial users the kind of revenues that will help to increase what we do in the future?
Well, so as a utility, we're able to we get reimbursed for our cost, and so our costs are closely looked at and analyzed in order to determine what they are, and so we can get that reimbursement from DWP for our costs to produce this recycled water.
Great. Looks like a great collaboration and certainly a very necessary need for both us as well as for the industrial users. So
Correct.
Certainly I support.
Yeah, and the environment and the citizens of LA.
Absolutely. And again, it speaks to the sustainability objective that the mayor has in terms of how we will be better performed in sustainable measures and practices in the city of Los Angeles. This reflects that probably right up there with other great ideas that we have had from our bureau. So thank you for this motion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Anything further? Sounded like a motion from Commissioner Davis over there. Seconded by myself. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 3. Thank you, sir. Any issue sending number 3 forthwith? We will send number 3 forthwith. Agenda item number 4, access permit agreements for Los Angeles County Flood Control District, recommending that the board approve and forward the report with the 4 transmittals to the mayor for authority to execute the proposed access permit agreements between sanitation and Los Angeles County Flood Control District for the operation and maintenance of water quality monitoring equipment for the coordinated integrated monitoring plans in the following watersheds: Bologna Creek, Los Angeles River, Dominguez Channel, and Santa Monica Bay. And secondly, authorize myself or 2 commissioners of the Board of Public Works and the Director of the Bureau of Sanitation to execute the 4 access permit agreements upon mayoral approval. John Ball, welcome, sir.
Good morning, President James, Commissioners, and Bureau representatives. My name is John Ball. I'm with the Watershed Protection Division, LA Sanitation, and our group conducts water quality monitoring throughout the city's watersheds, and those were the 4 mentioned there. This involves us operating and maintaining 34 monitoring stations. These monitoring stations are located on the premises of LA County Flood Control District, and they're requiring this user agreement that spells out the terms and conditions of our use. So, for example, if there's a flood control operations that needs to take care of an emergency situation or something like that, they're able to kind of override our operations for the purpose of their own. Those kind of things are spelled out in this agreement. So we've had the language looked at by the city attorney's office and the risk management, and there's no transfer of funds. At this point, we're just looking for your authority to approve this.
Thank you, sir. Many questions? Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you. John, you mentioned 34 automated monitoring stations.
Yeah.
In the report, it just said 38.
There might be 4 of those of the 38 might be outside of the flood control district right away. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Anything further? Okay. Commissioner Davis has made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 4, seconded by Commissioner Cabello. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 4. Thank you, Mr. Ball.
All right. Thank you.
Any issue sending number 4 forthwith? We will send number 4 forthwith. Agenda item number 1 Council District 4, Bureau of Engineering, change order number 2, Mulholland Drive Bulkhead Project, recommending that the board authorize $201,262.94 in additional contingency and approve a revised construction budget of $913,698.14 for the project. And secondly, authorize the city engineer to issue a supplemental agreement change order number 2 to John S. Meek Company Incorporated for a not-to-exceed amount of $258,904.82 for the Mulholland Drive 13319 Mulholland Drive Bulkhead Project to repair an eroded slope due to a Los Angeles Department of Water and Power water service leak near the project site. Mr. Garcia, welcome.
Good morning. Pedro Garcia from the Bureau of Engineering, Geotechnical Engineering Division. This board report is to request authority to increase the budget contingency for this project and to issue supplemental agreement number 2 to repair a washout along Mulholland Drive caused by a broken DWP water line. This project is located in the Hollywood Hills on Mulholland Drive between Coldwater Canyon and Benedict Canyon. The project scope provides for repairing an existing bulkhead, and it's an existing timber bulkhead that had erosion at the ends. You can see that in figures 1 and 2. The project was awarded to John S. Meek in October of 2017. Before John S. Meek was able to mobilize, a DWP line broke adjacent to our project and washed out a section of the slope. It was a pretty severe erosion that, if left unattended, would impact the roadway. We met with DWP, and they agreed to fund the repair of the slope through a change order in our project. So we negotiated a funds transfer from DWP and negotiated a change order with our contractor to do the repair. However, the cost of the repair is greater than 25% of our contract costs, so therefore we need board authority to issue the change order and also increase the budget contingency.
Thank you, sir. We'll start with Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Pedro, this is thank you for the documentation. I always like to see before and after in terms of what is, especially in this case, a change order and a supplemental change order, because it's more than 25%. What it looks like in terms of the washout, the road, and then really how it has been repaired with the concrete and that whole bulkhead. That's kind of good information for us to see in real time. And that there's a drainage that comes down there too, so it still drains right down that pipe. And as you stated, and as our city attorney stated too, that this is on LADWP's dime because it was caused by a water leakage, correct?
Correct, yeah. They're funding the construction and also providing for BOE labor for the design.
All right, so thank you to DWP for taking care of this for us and for our work on it too. Thank you, Pedro.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Garcia.
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Mr. Garcia. You did such a great report. I have a question. This is already done, figure 3. It's completed and it looks this way?
Yes, so the contractor mobilized and started working on the bulkhead while we negotiated with DWP, transferred the funds, negotiated the change order, and put together the board report. So during that whole time, the contractor was working on our project, which is the bulkhead. And figure 3 is what it looks like now. It's basically our project is complete. If this is approved, our contractor would remobilize and basically just fix the erosion gully.
Okay, I think it looks great. This is such a good design and such a upgrade from what we had before anyway. So congratulations. I think it's a really good project.
Thank you.
I fully support it, by the way.
Well, there's Commissioner Garcia's motion. No other questions. Seconded by Commissioner Cabello. Thank you, sir. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 1. Any issue sending number 1 forthwith? We will send number 1 forthwith. Agenda item, let's go to our supplemental. Supplemental is agenda item number 15, Council District 5, Above Ground Facilities Hardship Waiver and Variance 11002 North Rose Avenue. Recommending that the board approve the request for a variance from the height requirement of the Above Ground Facilities Ordinance pursuant to Los Angeles Municipal Code, Section 6208VB. Secondly, approve the request for a hardship waiver from the below grade requirement of the AGF Ordinance pursuant to LAMC 62082A. Third, authorize mobility to install a 40-foot high wood monopole in the public right-of-way adjacent to 11002 North Rose Avenue. Ms. Masuda, you are here. Ms. Wang is not. She was here on Wednesday. we don't need to create the Wednesday hearing. So I think what we should do is get an update. We did get an update from, by way of email from Ms. Nichols. The question was a street lighting light that was about 450 feet away from the project. So go ahead for the oral record, and the email might be worth adding to the public record as well, Dr. Campos. But go ahead, Mr. Masuda.
Okay, good morning. I'm Matt Masuda, Senior Civil Engineer for the Central District of the Bureau of Engineering. Yes, I don't want to, you don't want me to restate the whole.
Well, why don't you, they didn't get the email.
Oh, okay.
I thought, for some reason, I just thought all five of us got it.
Okay.
My bad. So you want to summarize, or should we have Ms. Nichols?
I could call up Ms. Nichols.
Okay. Oh, you didn't get it either? Oh, well, let me pull. Gee, wasn't I the lucky guy? Okay. Did you get it, Commissioner Cento? Okay.
I think I sent it to Commissioner Jacinto, and he actually sees
I
added you
wasn't
to
the
it.
lucky guy. Okay.
I sent an email stating and then backing with our computer proof that Sprint had actually, we had presented that site to Sprint in 2016 2 times, and they had rejected it. And I sent a PDF form of their rejection of that light pole.
Yeah. Well, we're going to read it. Is it okay if we read it into the record?
Yeah.
It's a public record. So, Joel, do you have it? Okay. Why don't we have Commissioner Cento read it into the record? Because it was helpful.
Good afternoon, Huey. I was doing the whole thing.
What?
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I was doing some homework on the BSL location presented today and found some info I wanted to pass along. We usually don't submit our private computer system information, but I wanted to back up any claim that the BSL pole was out of search ring range. Mobility originally selected the street light in 2016 and submitted to Sprint as a possible location. The site was evaluated and twice rejected by Sprint RF, which is radio frequency. The notes from Sprint say below, far from SR and too close to keep site, LOS 66218. Preferred to be near Rose and Tilden Avenue intersection or Rose and Military Avenue intersection, away from any tree clutter. It goes on to say, Mr. Marine, which is Kearney, called me to let me know that we could build a street pole with the street light and dedicate to BSL the pay rent on Mobility's position at this time is that they do not build new infrastructure that we do not own. Our sites are thrown into the Joint Pole Agreement, or JPA. However, for co-location, if any city department or any other JPA members would like to locate on our pole. Please note that the option to build BSL, the street light pole, was previously rejected 2 times by Fabian Chang on October 12th via letter from Norma Isahakian. On December 18th, see attached. In good faith, we move forward, and does not seem the goalposts continually are moved, and an action to move on this application is never ending. Friday will be the 4th continuation of the hearing, and 100-day shot clock has long passed. Signed respectfully, Shannon Nichols.
So, thank you on that. And for the record, Ms. Nichols sent it to the Bureau of Engineering liaison, which is Commissioner Cento. Commissioner Cento is under the Brown Act, so he sent it to one of us, me, and now it's in the public record. So, here we are. Regarding the prior attempts. Did somebody want to speak from street lighting? Mr. Chang?
So, good morning, Eddie Chavez, Bureau of Street Lighting. You have any questions I could answer?
I think as we move forward, if he's...
Okay, I'm not really sure what we do, what we do next. I mean, we've now got a situation where if I understand correctly, Ms. Nichols, you have applied a number of times on this location. The light poles that were pointed out to us on Wednesday, not only will it not work, but It had been considered some time before and was rejected. So here we are. Given everything that we've had on this, I feel like we've exhausted all other options. I checked with the council office. The council office, I showed them the photos, I showed them the board report. The council office maintained their position that they are not taking a position. So we're back to, we do have a lot more information than we had before. And my take on it is that as a board we've now exhausted everything, and I think that the applicant's entitled to a decision. Commissioner Cabello? Okay, Commissioner Garcia?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I agree. I think this is exactly the establishment procedure that we want to continue with, is that we exhaust every co-location opportunity completely, and it's what we're moving forward to, so that we've been able to just look at the entire range to see if we can, if this is the last thing we can do. So I'm in agreement with this because we did do our diligent work and we did our homework, even if it was more work for it. However, in the future, I just want to say that when you send out an email, can you just make sure you send it out to everybody on the board? You could always send it out to Fernando, and Fernando makes sure that we all do it, and it doesn't cause any issues or any ethical situations. So I would have loved to have seen this email maybe yesterday or even the day before, but not during board time. So in the future, please just send it out to Fernando, and he'll make sure we all get it individually.
Commissioner Cabello?
In addition, the one thing that BSL will add, or they did do the last co-location opportunity, which was done on Wednesday, right? With Kearney, you guys had that whole conversation and looked, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Eddie, you said that it was a little bit off the range that you told us.
Correct. So my understanding is that the nearest street lighting pole is 450 feet approximately. Yes. And my understanding was that it's too far from, I guess, their coverage area of 150. I'm not sure what that is. So that was what we suggested. The street light pole is, the nearest one was 450 feet away. So if you want further explanation from mobility, then you could ask them as far as their coverage range.
Shannon, is that your 150 range, is that an average range?
Go to the mic. It changes per site depending on different geographical, whether it's trees or hills or buildings in the way. And we usually have that in our computer system that Sprint gives us, what that distance we can go is. But that's about average.
Okay. It's good to know for us in the future as well.
And I can forward that to you, and it also has the rejection PDF as well, so I can forward that.
Send it to Fernando.
Fernando, yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Cabello.
Commissioner Garcia literally took the words out of my mouth. Well, no, I guess that was figuratively. First, yes, in the future, any communications regarding an item before us would be great. If you're sending it to your liaison, whether it's Commissioner Jacinto or any one of my colleagues, CCing Fernando would be great, because it would have been super helpful to have this ahead of time. But I thank you for that clarification. But Ms. Stickles, I want to thank you for all your efforts, for being willing to work with us, for considering and taking the time to see if there is a co-location possibility, if you could make it work. I know it's been difficult. I know this was kind of the test case for the AGFs moving forward, at least with me on board and my need for renter notification. But I want to say I really do appreciate it, and I'll be supporting this moving forward.
Thank you, Commissioner Cabello. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 15, seconded by Commissioners Davis and Cinto. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 15. Thank you, Ms. Masuda. Thank you, Ms. Nichols. Any issue sending 15 forthwith? Mr. Sanchez, thank you as well. That takes us to agenda item number 2. I thought we would do the AGFs together today. Agenda item number 2, Council District 8. This is a different one. This one has not been before us, I don't think. Above ground facility variance, 1901 West Vernon Avenue, recommending that the board first approve the request for a variance from the height requirement of the AGF ordinance pursuant to Los Angeles Municipal Code Section 6208VB for the monopole. Secondly, authorize mobility to install a 49-foot-high wood monopole in the public right-of-way adjacent to 1901 West Vernon Avenue on the Gramercy Place side of the street. Mr. Masuda on number 2.
Good morning. I'm Matt Masuda from the Central District of the Bureau of Engineering. Mobility requests to install a 49-foot-high wood monopole in the public right-of-way on Gramercy Place, north of Vernon Avenue at 1901 West Vernon Avenue. They request a variance to the maximum height requirement of the above-ground facilities ordinance. The purpose of this monopole is to mount wireless telecommunications antennas which operate on a line-of-sight technology that must be placed at locations higher than the 5-foot 6-inch height limitation to function properly and to meet wireless service coverage objectives. Prior to applying for their permit, Mobility sent first notice letters stating their stating their proposal to the adjacent property owners and Council District 8. The above-ground facilities ordinance requires that 3 conditions be met for the board to grant a variance to the height limitation. 1, the applicant needs to provide suitable measures consistent with the aesthetic guidelines to mitigate for the excessive AGF height. The 49-foot-high wood monopole is similar in appearance and color to other wood utility poles in the area. A photo simulation of the pole is shown on sheet 4 of the report. However, the proposed pole will be actually located, installed 19 feet away from the existing driveway as seen in the photo. We deem this acceptable to satisfy condition number 1. Condition number 2, the applicant needs to demonstrate that no financially or technically acceptable alternative exists that complies with the ordinance. The additional pole height above the maximum height of 5 foot 6 inches is necessary for the facility to transmit a signal using line-of-sight technology. The applicant worked with the Bureau of Street Lighting to identify suitable co-location options. However, the Bureau of Street Lighting determined that no suitable co-location options exist for this location. The letter from the Bureau of Street Lighting was just handed out to you as transmittal number 3, which is an update to the previous transmittal. We deem this acceptable to satisfy condition number 2. In condition number 3, the applicant needs to provide an approval from the Cultural Affairs Commission for the design of the AGF. The proposed installation for this site was approved by the Cultural Affairs Commission on February 18, 2016. We, the Bureau of Engineering, determined that the site is compliant with the AGF ordinance requirements and sent second notification letters to adjacent property owners to inform them that they have 14 calendar days to appeal our determination. The results of the second notification are shown on page 3 of the report. We did not receive any appeals or opposition from the property owners, and Council District 8 has not taken a position with this proposal. In conclusion, Mobility has met all the conditions required for the variance to the AGF ordinance. Therefore, Bureau of Engineering recommends that the board approve the variance for the site. I can now answer any questions, and we have a representative from Mobility if you have any questions for them.
We'll start with Commissioner Garcia.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for giving me this report. I know that when you briefed me, I had one question, but I actually just have 2 general questions. Were you able to find out why we couldn't co-locate in the pole between the one street light that is there? Because there's only one. When we saw the picture, it looked like one.
There's high voltage wires above that street light, and so if we put an antenna on top, it would interfere with those. So street lighting doesn't recommend that, but if Mr. Chavez could.
Yeah, good morning. Eddie Chavez, Bureau of Street Lighting. That's correct. There's overhead power lines along Gramercy Place, and we don't allow any co-location to any LADOT where there's LADOT equipment, which those are all at the intersection of Gramercy Place and Vernon. So that's the reason why any of those street lights in that vicinity are not allowed. We did do some homework since we had done research on roads. We did the same type of research for this location, and we do have one pole along Vernon, which is the first pole east of Gramercy Place along Vernon that is available for, to co-locate. So
How
that
many
is an
feet,
option.
Mr. Chavez, do you know how many
That
feet
is
away?
about 160 feet away from their proposed location.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, what was the range needed there, Shannon?
Of course, Hui isn't here today. I sent to her last night a co-location, all the co-location opportunities and why they didn't work. This one, actually, I don't know if you noticed, it doesn't meet ADA standards. It's a 6 foot, needs 6 feet, and it barely has 3, 4. So that's why that one doesn't work, ADA standards in the sidewalk.
The one on Vernon?
So you're going to upgrade the pole and make the new foundation and so
Yeah,
forth.
and it
That's the
doesn't
reason.
fit. Yeah.
So next question, Mr. Chavez, would there be another pole other than the 160 feet?
No, because there's overhead conflict in the south side of Vernon as well. So this is on the north side of Vernon and east of Gramercy Place. That's the only place. There is another pole, which is, let me see, another maybe about 300 feet away from that one, which totals 460, 500, yeah.
And just so the record is clear, Ms. Nichols, and so I'm clear, the ADA issue is, if you were to go to the pole that Mr. Chavez mentioned a moment ago, in the 160 feet, you're replacing the pole because of the additional apparatus that's going on the pole, but you can't meet the ADA standard because of the width of the sidewalk that's adjacent to it.
Correct. It's currently existing non-conforming, and anytime you do upgrades to something, you have to make it conforming. And
Well
it's
aware of
impossible
that,
to.
yeah. Once you touch it, you gotta comply. Could I ask, just on your time, Commissioner Garcia, one question? The adjacent property owner here looks pretty close to this pole. Did we do anything additional to try and get a response from them? Like knock on the door or anything? Oh, okay. So I'm taking Commissioner Cabello's question.
Shannon?
Mr. Masuda?
Besides mailing our required mailing and notifications, I didn't.
The
hate to
ordinance doesn't
interject.
require it.
There
It's
is
what-
more than one attempt.
I know there's two.
At the beginning, and so that's two.
I know
others
there's
now.
two, but they're both by mail, and I know that's all the ordinance requires. But when here's the reason I asked the question. I know what the ordinance requires. I know it says that there were 2 attempts, but 25 years of practicing law, we had a lot of service issues on serving process on people in litigation. And sometimes, there are issues with mail. But when you've got one adjacent property owner that's so obviously so close, that's the one. And if they don't object, at least for me, it makes it a whole lot easier for me to vote yes if that one property owner doesn't object. Now that we know they haven't responded, but to me it seems like it might be worth sending BOE or BSL or somebody out to knock on the door and just see if they object.
Which property owner?
This one that it's right in front of. The
car wash?
What?
Are you talking about the car wash there? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, there's a car wash there.
Yeah.
My guess is, I'm guessing, is that they don't object, but we just mailed it to them, and so, anyway, so Commissioner Garcia, back to you. Sorry, that was
No, I
the burning question I had.
I think you're absolutely right. I agree with you, and I think you're right. And actually that leads me up to my next question, which is, this pole looks a little bit more equipped with electronic attachments. And actually on your number 2, it says that the site plan that shows a proposed monopole with antenna and other electric equipment attached. What is the other electric equipment attached? Because this is the first time that I see so many things on it, including something sticking out. So can you please tell me what that's for? And why is this one different than the others?
They're all the same. They should be all the same. The antenna sticking out is our backhaul antenna. And it's sticking out because that is an LADWP requirement for climbing the pole for power.
The
overhead
long
tower.
one? The long one
Yeah,
with that
thing
square
that's
on
sticking out
top?
like 3 feet. Yeah,
How-
that is their requirement.
What is the height on that?
It has to be 18 feet above ground. I don't have the drawings in front of me, so I don't know the height exactly on this particular one. I know per GO 95 codes, it has to be at least 18 feet above ground level. And we would love to not have it stick out, but we don't have a choice. And actually on underground sites where we have meter pedestals, we don't have to do that because they don't have to climb it. But if you want overhead power and no meter pedestal, then you have to have that sticking out. It's kind of a catch-22 there.
It just looks really bulky for that property owner.
It's not our
Okay.
favorite thing either, but we don't have a choice.
So here's what I would propose, because I think, Ms. Nichols, this might be a quick fix. If we could continue the item just to have somebody approach the property owner on this one property. We don't need to go out again, just one property. Mr. Masuda and Ms. Wang, somebody in your group,
Sure, we could arrange for someone to do that.
yeah, just somebody in the field, in your field office there, if they could approach and with the application and see if the property owner has any issue.
Okay.
Okay? Ms. Nichols, yes, of course.
Also, I will send to Fernando so we can put it in the files, all the co-location issues with
That'd be
other
great.
polls.
That way the record is complete.
And I'll try to do that for the rest of the other 2 sites that we have this month, and so you'll have that.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. So, Commissioner Cinto.
Yeah, President James, really quick, I also want to be a steward of the public right-of-way as well as due diligence in the process. I want to make sure that the directions that we give our staff are pretty consistent when it comes to notifying or not. In this case, I'm fine with it. I think for consistency purposes, if we're not going to change the AGF ordinance for notification patterns, that we want to be clear as a directive to staff when to go over and above what the ordinance says and when not to.
That's a fair point. Commissioner Cabello.
Thank you, President James. And to Commissioner Jacinto's point, in terms of notification consistency, we are meeting with BOE based on my motion for notification of renters, and maybe we can work out additional guidelines along with staff and what is reasonable for the applicants as well, so that there is that consistency and clarification, which is why I did the written motion.
And in addition, sorry, President James. In addition, I want to say we are finalizing our AGA formalization process that requires BSL and BOE to speak to each other before coming to board. So that should come to the board in the next couple of weeks.
Yes, we're finalizing that report right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yes, Mr. Jordan, because I think Commissioner Jacinto raises a fair point regarding if we knock on this door, then what about all the other doors that we didn't knock on or that we're not going to be knocking on in the future, and at what point does this process become too burdensome? And that's, I think, ripe for the future discussion based on Commissioner Cabello's motion. For me, this is just an eye test. I look at and I'm not. We're just seeking the property owner. This is a car wash. There are not tenants there. But I realize the point, and so our city attorney is going to give us some advice. Mr. Jordan.
Yeah, a couple of issues. One, we don't really know if the car wash is the property owner or a tenant. So when we knock on that door, you may be knocking on the door of a tenant.
True.
And so right now, we're not getting tenant because that's not part of the ordinance. Second issue is just to minimize the back and forth, since we're going to have this come back for a second hearing. I just note for the record that the council district office was notified. On page 4 of the report, it indicates that the council district office has not taken a position. So if the board wants to ask them again just to make sure, we might want to take care of that today rather than having to come back for a second hearing, only then to ask, what does the council office really think?
Yeah, I did it last time with CD5. I'll do it this time with CD8, if that's okay with everybody. Okay. We'll see if I get the same response or if I get a different response. But I'll take the burden to do that. So let's decide now on the issue of the car wash. Do we want to seek the property owner, or do we want to seek the tenant, or both? Okay. My suspicion is that both will have the same answer, but okay. So we may not be able to get to the property owner. This may be a property owner that is in another city and is leasing this out. So when you approach the tenant, because that can be done during business hours, you might ask what the tenant's position is and ask who the property owner is. And if they're in LA, great. If not, then we may have to just live with mail. So, Commissioner Cabello.
Sort of friendly amendment to that direction, which is we have reached out to the property owner, to the city attorney's point about the tenant. Notification in person for, in this case, and we'll make it more consistent with my motion moving forward, would be to the occupant, whoever's living with that, whoever has to deal with that, if the owner has been notified twice by mail. So I would say whatever the occupant may be it a tenant or...
Well, that's fair enough. That makes it a little easier. We're going to find if the owner's been notified twice by mail, and you're making an approach of the occupant, you might get the owner and you might get the tenant, but the approach is to the occupant. Fair enough.
So,
all right. So you have one approach.
Okay. I just want to make sure the board's direction. So
yeah, we're confusing you a lot.
Yes.
Sorry.
So you want my staff to approach that property, regardless of it's the owner or the tenant, and just say, this is being proposed. What's your position? Okay. Just for this one location.
Yes.
Right now.
And the information, Ms. Nichols, that they're going to provide this occupant does inform them of the service that this infrastructure allows, correct? Yeah, but there is a benefit to the adjacent area of having these not so beautiful pieces of art in the public right-of-way. So, but I think that people ought to know that this is what these things do. So, okay, great. Are you clear on this, Mr. Masuda?
I'm clear, thank you.
We apologize for today's hearing. to all of you. Okay, thank you. So, 2 weeks, Ms. Nichols, Mr. Masuda? Is that okay?
Yeah, we'll take care of it within 2 weeks.
Okay, so let's put it on maybe 12 days. Let's put it on the Wednesday instead of the Friday. What is the Wednesday that's 12 days from now?
That would be Wednesday, January 23rd.
Wednesday, January 23rd. Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Great. So that's number 2. I think we have cleared everything but the oral reports?
Yes, you have. All voting items have been cleared, yes.
I'm sorry?
All voting items have been cleared,
okay.
Yes.
So let's go with the one that's on, we'll start with the oral report for task order solicitations, the task order solicitation process update, street services, Chimingo. Your name is on my sheet.
Thank you, President James. Commissioners, Mr. City Attorney, Mr. Executive Officer, and Bureau Reps, Chimingo at the Bureau of Street Services. I have a very short, abbreviated presentation on this. The Bureau of Street Services has only one active task order solicitation, and it was just recently approved by your board on December 19th. No further update at this point. The Bureau is contemplating pursuing 9 other task order solicitations, but those are still being reviewed internally and are not yet ready for publication at this time.
Well, then they're not on the agenda yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
The one that we have is...
It's a meeting with Harrison Associates for the amount of three quarters of $1 million, $750,000. The intent that the Bureau wants to proceed forward with is to engage their engineering expertise, collaborate with our construction expertise, so we can more facilitate the access ramp, curb ramp construction. I think, as I explained earlier, we've already done all low-hanging fruit. Now we're looking for the next layer of lower-hanging fruit.
Okay.
As far as construction of those concerned.
Thank you. Any questions on that one really new toss? All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Ohanian, engineering.
Good morning, Eddie Ohanian from Bureau of Engineering. I'm going to give you a report on 3 items on your agenda for today. And first is TUS process update. The experience with utilization of BAVN, Business Assistance Virtual Network, has been very good and positive for us. It's a system that is very reliable and user-friendly. We have not received any complaints to date for utilizing this system. And again, all of our pre-qualified on-call contracts are currently in BAVN with the exception of 3 old contracts. And those 3 contracts are going to expire in 2 years, and the replacement contracts are already in place, and we are working on them, and they should replace them in September 2021. Those contracts are landscape architect consultant services, environmental documentation consulting services, and environmental specialty study consulting services. The second item on the agenda is subcontractor utilization on TOSs. Again, on a quarterly basis, we come to the Board of Public Works and report on all of our personal services contracts, and we provide a written report which is due January 23rd. And there will be a comprehensive, a broader report on this matter on January 30th, which we are scheduled to come and report. However, I do have a brief response to this particular component of that report, which is subcontractor utilization. We currently have 40 contracts subject to MBE, WBE program. We received $3,780,368 of invoices toward these contracts, and 34% of this invoice amount was subcontracted out at the amount of $1,274,675. And out of these subcontracts, 25% was given to MBEs at $943,968. And 4% was given to WBEs for $128,974. We also have 57 contracts subject to BIP, Business Inclusion Program, and we received $4,400,108 invoices during this reporting period, which 56% of this was subcontracted out at the amount of $2,443,804. 20% of subcontracted work was given to MBEs for the amount of $890,385, and 10% of it was given to WBEs for $427,627. And 25% was subbed out to SBEs at $1,096,844. And 17% was subbed out to EBEs for emerging business enterprises for $768,636. And 0.3% was subbed out to DVBE at $14,930. And again, a comprehensive and broader report will be given to the board coming on January 23rd in a written format and orally on January 30th. However, there is a third component of this report on the agenda, and that is for reporting back on task orders for pre-qualified contracts pertaining to policy, new policy or revised policy of 793. Back in November 20th, the board has raised city engineers authority from $100,000 to $150,000. And toward this newly increased authority, there has not been any task orders issued since November 20th.
Under the new authority, nothing new.
Correct.
Got it.
And then this will be also modified in our quarterly report for personal services contracts. Currently, we're reporting them as $100,000 or less, so we will modify that to $150,000 or less and continue to report them on quarterly basis. However, as part of 793, there is another component which is not on the agenda, but it included in the modified policy, which is reporting on construction change orders for amounts of under $150,000. For that, we need to create a new reporting system, and we're hoping that we can come back on the next quarter and report for all of those change orders under $150,000, which city engineer has issued. It will be reported next quarter. That is going to show everything as of November 20th to the date of the report. With that, this concludes my report.
Is that it, Mr. Ohanian? Thank you, sir. I missed that part of your report. No questions for you. Thank you. We'll look forward to the written information that's forthcoming.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see you then. Have a nice weekend. Sanitation. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tu Van Ho. I'm with Sanitation, Wastewater Engineering Services Division. Today, I'm going to provide you the TOS process update. Sanitation we continue to advertise the TOS through LA Bavin and Sanitation internet website for everyone to bid on our opportunity. And we also continue to update all the subcontract amount of subcontractor from all of the TOS we awarded to the consultant. This is one of the requirement from Commissioner Jacinto. He required in August 2018. And up to date, we have issued total 100 TOS in August 2014, including 36 TOS posted in LA Bavin after a motion for using LA Bavin to issue the TOS adopted in July 2016. And we have awarded total 83 TOSes to 21 prime consultants on the on-call list, and for a total amount of $126.3 million. Total of 152 subconsultants that are utilized by prime consultant have registered in LA Bavin when they are doing the business with the city. For our on-call contract, it will expire on July 22nd of this year, and we already submitted our board report to exercise 5-year renewal option to the board, to the Bureau of Contract Administration for review. The second item on the agenda, utilization of subconsultant. Overall, sanitation have achieved about 28% MBE, 12% WBE, 24% SBE, 18% EBE, 1% DVBE, and 28% OBE based on the total invoice amount of $60.3 million out of total contract awarded, $126.3 million. The third item on the agenda, report backs on the task order from pre-qualified list, policy 793. This item does not apply to sanitation because we don't have the pre-qualified list, so we don't have any update on the last item.
Thank you, ma'am. So I realized the first report on all this stuff, so thank you for the information. And we will see everyone next quarter. Okay. Any questions at all for sanitation? Great, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good weekend. So we have one more difficult access reach program update in our special for today, and it's past 10:30. You're not Doug Irvine. Well, there's Doug Irvine.
We look alike. Mr. President, if I can just
Oh,
call roll call since
yes,
this is a
I'm
special
being
item.
instructed. Yes, everybody is coming at me from left and right.
Commissioner Cabello and I are thinking the same way, so
Let's
just
adjourn. At least our city attorney didn't throw anything at me for that. Let's let's adjourn the regular meeting, and Dr. Campos, you can call roll on the special.
special on item number 16. This is Commissioner Garcia, Commissioner Cabello, Commissioner James, Commissioner Davis, and Commissioner Jacinto are present. President James, you do have a quorum, and there are no speaker cards on this special item.
Well, then finally we'll get to Mr. Irvine and Mr. Prusti on this.
Good morning, Mr. President, Commissioners. Happy New Year, and thank you for giving us this opportunity. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to be here today and talk about this magnificent program. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our difficult access reaches program and a little bit overall how we got there. And Mr. Irvin Doug will be continuing on to how the process evolved and how the engineering is handling the construction and other activities related to it. So back in, well, let me give you a little update of where we are. So as you know, City of LA owns and operates 6,700 miles of sewer system. 6,000, we serve over 4 million people, 29 agencies, and we have 6,000 miles of sewer that are less than 15 inches in diameter, close to 500 miles of primary lines, which are between 500, more than 15 inches or 16 inches in diameter, and close to 200 miles of outfall sewers. These are huge, humongous sewers that carries the majority of the sewer system to our treatment plants. So back in 1998, City of LA sustained a heavy rainstorm. And at that time, we had quite a bit of sewer system overflows, which actually inundated South Los Angeles quite a bit. We had almost 2 to 3 inches of sludge covering all the streets. So following that, the US EPA, Regional Water Quality Control Board, state, as well as local residents sued the city for us to comply with or sue the city for that for the spills that had occurred. So in 2001, between 2001 and 2004, city negotiated with all the parties, and we reached an agreement that would have lasted us 10 years to do that. So it started 2004 through 2014. We had this collection system settlement agreement observed by U.S. Justice Department, EPA, Regional Water Quality Control Board, as well as the city project, Los Angeles, which represented the South Los Angeles residents, as well as LA Waterkeeper, which at that time it was called Santa Monica Baykeeper. So all of them got together and they were as partners in this lawsuit. So in summary, within the 10-year program, which really the City of LA and LA Sanitation spent almost $1 billion on upgrading our collection systems. We completed 15 projects. These are mega projects that we completed at the cost of $580 million. We rehabbed and replaced 60 miles of sewer system. These are secondary layer sewer system, which, by the way, one of the requirements of the settlement agreement was to renew 60 miles of sewer annually for 10 years. In addition, we were supposed to do 600 miles of CCTV every year, and we were required to do 6,000 miles of cleaning, of 6,000 reaches of sewer cleaning annually, as well as inspection of all of our food establishments. So more than 9,300 restaurants were inspected annually. We had to establish our FOG program, fat oil grease program, which we looked at, and then we had ordinances put in place for grease traps for the restaurants. So all in all, when we started this whole program, taking note of this, was in 2001, we had over 649 spills annually. From that, last year, I'm glad to report that we were down from 649 after complying with all of these upgrades and stuff, and thank you for the support of this board. We were down to about almost 79 spills. That's, by the way, that is the lowest in the entire country. That's only represents one SSOs per 100 miles, or one sewer system spill per overflow per 100 miles. That is the lowest by far in the country. So in that regard, we are the trailblazers, and we set trend in managing our system. So the next slide shows the secondary sewer system. When we started this
Let me just say, boy, you guys have come a long way. I should say, we have come a long way.
You have come, yes, sir. We have come a long way.
From those years, yeah.
So we have, as I talked about, 60.
Any chance we can get down to 50?
I'm sorry?
Any chance we can have a year getting down to 50?
You know,
I'm just pushing.
I think we are number one already. I don't think we can go above that, but so we can definitely try. It depends on actually on the year, the whole bunch of stuff.
That would be a 50% reduction in 1 year.
That would be huge.
Yeah.
That would be tremendously huge. We can definitely try. I can, to see what we can do this, but a lot of factors.
To have goals.
That's all. Yeah. That would be a good new goal. Yes, that would be a great goal. So as I talked about the 60 miles program of secondary sewer replacement. So because we were under court mandated deadline to meet 60 miles annually. When we we designated our basins. By the way, the city has 26 primary basins. These are the sewer lines that are larger than 15 inches diameter. So each household has got a lateral that connects to the secondary line that runs in the middle of the street. And that bunch of secondary lines connect to a primary line. A number of primary lines go into outfall. So I gradually get bigger and bigger till they finally end up at the treatment plant. So our program, the 60-mile program, was updating or upgrading this secondary sewer system. Secondary sewer systems, these are the ones that run in the alleys and the streets. Some of these areas, they were difficult to access, difficult to reach, and we were both able to take a lot of resources to be able to CCTV and repair those and meet that 60-mile deadline. And also, it needed also, at that time, it was not feasible for us to do that. So when we were planning these secondary sewer replacement projects, we took away or separated the difficult access reaches. These are the reaches that go really, for instance, they go they're outside of the hill, they go under the stairs, somebody's backyard. So it's very difficult to access. So overall, we came up with about 17 miles of, or 17, 18 miles of these doors that were separated from the entire program. Once the program was completed in 2014, we started addressing these difficult to access reaches. So they were separated into, I think, manageable, 1 or 2 mile segments, or smaller segments, or even larger in some areas. And then so we decided to do that over a period of time. Now, as and Doug will talk about this, our practice now is that as we plan these secondary sewers, we include the doors as part of it. So we no longer separate those difficult access reaches from the secondary sewer plan. We keep them as part of that. So this slide I want to show you is or the pink one, I think, is the one. This shows that the city system that we have over 230 secondary basins. These secondary basins, the pink one is in the one that are being still planned. Those are in, usually these happened after, they were already inspected as part of the Northwich earthquake afterwards, and they repaired. The green ones, they were either constructed or being completed, under construction now. So for that reason, Doug is going to be talking about the doors itself, so how we got there. But before I left, I just wanted to leave, I want to say a couple of things. First of all, we left a 10-year report. That was the report on our secondary sewer system. That's the TIC report. That's a report that talks about what we achieved over the 10-year period for that settlement agreement between 2004 and 2014. And the smaller one is our annual sewer assessment report, the condition report that we do annually to see what the condition of our system is. So those are the reading over the weekend while you watch your football game. So if you get bored, so if you get bored, you can review those. Now hand it over to Doug.
Only if we're 30 points up. Mr. Irvine, go ahead. Or did you want to jump in there,
Could I please?
Commissioner Jacinto?
President James, really quick, Ali, I just wanted to comment on that too, because the overall kind of sewer, what you reported in terms of us getting down to less than 80 and being first in the nation with our sewer system with spills, that really speaks to, being the best run sewer spill manager in the country, and that's important from where we were to where we are now. And it's the investment, it's the policy, it's the work of the Bureau to make it so that we're managing the system so that we have that less one spill per 100 miles. That's outstanding. I just didn't want that to pass without thanking everything from the policy to the implementation and to the resources needed to make that happen to continue, because that's back to basics at its best.
Thank you,
So, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you both. Go ahead, Doug.
Thank you. My name's Doug Irvin, Bureau of Engineering, Wastewater Conveyance.
And I get it wrong every time. If you would drop the E, if you could respell your name, I could pronounce it correctly. Maybe next time Dr. Campos will leave the E off.
That's okay. I mean, if you're out here in California on the West Coast,
That's
it's
true.
Irvine.
It's Irvine, yeah.
My family came from back east, so they pronounce it Irvin, so I do it that way.
Go ahead, go ahead.
As Ali mentioned about the DAR program, that we have over 17 miles of difficult access reaches within the city. As part of the settlement agreement program, these projects or difficult reaches were pushed aside so we could address them at a later point in time, which we are addressing them now. And as part of that, we've broken them up into 12 difficult to access reaches projects and SSRP projects that have DAR reaches added to it, okay? And as part of the cost estimating, 2 DAR projects were put forth, and we got cost estimates for this. So we created our unit costs for the repair of the sewer lines. We also came up with the factors of all the reaches that we have, we're identifying 20% of these reaches to go to construction. Okay, so 20% to be repaired, 80% still are videotape that may not need to be repaired. The difficulty of this is that we were not able to provide any CCTV access. So when we put the designs together, we were designing in the blind and saying, okay, well, we have all these reaches, here's our 20%. To rectify this, we included in our contract saying the contractor, hey, as part of your work, you are going to need to CCTV these sewer lines. So we've been having our contractor go out there and do videotaping. As part of the DAR program, we've also have experienced a change from the 20% repair that we assumed to about 50% actual repairs that we need to do. So that huge increase in costs is putting us coming back to the board on all of our projects, saying we are requesting additional funding because of our assumption of 20% now is at 50%. Okay? In addition to the DAR program, we have challenges with this DARS. Early in the design process, we send out courtesy notices to the property owner saying, we have a project that we're coming up. We are looking at CCTVing the sewer line, and there may be potential repair of those sewer lines. A lot of the property owners do not respond back to us regarding this. We have right of entry issues. If we need to get a temporary right of access to get in there. We have, again, I said the delays or responses from the property owners. That delays the contractor and pushes back the end of the construction of our projects. Also, when we are constructing maintenance holes, the construction of a maintenance hole takes an additional area, and therefore we need to obtain easements for these maintenance holes, and the easement process takes 3 to 4 years. Okay?
3 to 4 years on the easement process?
On easement process. Yes.
Is that Ted Jordan's fault? No. That might be the laws and stuff, but go ahead.
In addition, as the Bureau of Engineering in the early stages of design also look at maintenance holes that are on private property that we need to locate out in the field. Okay? So we requested Survey Division to go out and find these buried maintenance holes. Okay? So Survey puts together a plat map, and it's going to be one of the samples further on that you'll see that they put together this and memorialize it in Navigate LA.
That's in Navigate LA?
Yes, okay. Surveys, plat maps there.
I didn't know. Okay.
In addition, when it comes closer to construction time, we need to get Survey back out there for construction staking. So there's that involvement. Now, as I mentioned earlier, maintenance holes require additional easement. If we have a maintenance hole that we need to install, we're in a hillside, we have existing improvements there, there's no way that the contractor could really get a heavy-duty equipment in that area to construct these maintenance holes. So we have to hand carry and hand dig equipment and materials up there to create these maintenance holes. So there's that difficulty or challenges in the surveys. Surveys in the construction. So I'm holding up a picture of the Survey DAR plat maps or plat that is on Navigate LA. Okay, so you guys could see what's that's all about. I've also included sample pictures of obstacles in the backyards that our contractors and surveyors run into when they go out to the field. In this particular one here, we were lucky. We found the maintenance hole right next to the barbecue. The other one, it's buried underneath all this rubble here. Okay. So what's happening is that the construction cost impacts to the current SSRP and DAR projects is that we have an increase 40 to 60% of what was assumed. We have additional time that's being added to the projects where we need to get access to the properties. The contractor has difficulty scheduling his work because during the process, after the contractor videotapes the sewer reaches, the videotapes come into engineering, we review the tapes, we identify the damages, and we have the contractor go out there. So he has to now reschedule his schedule based on this time frame of the work. Then there's the community outreach, that it's not a really efficient use of community outreach because of all the delays that were going on, or videotaping, than going back out with the contractor and do the work. There's also that we're looking at possibly creating super DAR projects to help speed this up. What I mean by a super DAR is, again, we have our DAR reaches, but if we're impacting our contractor and we need to finish the project, if we take the reaches that we haven't completed at that time, create a new project where the super DAR is repaired at that point in time. Okay, so what I'm looking at, or what the Bureau of Engineering is looking for modifications for the future DAR, is that we're looking at requesting sanitation to have survey do the upfront surveying and locating maintenance holes when they're starting the assessment process. Having the survey division, identify if maintenance holes that need to be raised, if we have maintenance holes that need to be raised. Then we could look at having Bureau of Sanitation get their CCTV contractor out there to videotape the sewer lines up front. So when it comes to design, we have actual damages, so we could get a clear project scope and create our budgets and then get the projects out to construction. BOE is also evaluating ladder construction materials. Instead of having a 4-foot diameter concrete maintenance hole as the upstream terminal maintenance hole, if we could look at a lighter, smaller diameter, maybe 18 inches, that allows the maintenance group of sanitation to videotape if we need to, or see the cleaning equipment and then do the repairs. We're also looking at, again, creating the super DAR issues, and we're right of entries. We're looking at getting these right of entries prior to going to construction versus what we currently are doing during construction, since we don't know where we're going to be doing the repairs. Okay, and that concludes our presentation. Do we have any questions?
You know, as I listen, Doug, and that you guys have presented here before, obviously, I always wonder what it was like before CCTV. And then I was sitting here thinking, what was it like before Navigate LA? And all those things, you know, that we have now that we didn't have. And the fact of the matter is, you know, technology has revolutionized the way that we deliver city services and will continue to do so. Everything from what you do to the way we fix potholes. So I don't really have any questions other than, well, I do. It does spark one question, then I'll go to Commissioner Cinto. Are there any other or any significant potential groundbreaking technology pieces that are within reach that if we just had some budget money we could acquire? Or you know, sometimes you learn about those when you go to the Public Works Conference and things like that. Is there anything in this space that might be available out there that we haven't acquired yet?
Do you want to answer?
Thank you. There is, in terms of CCTV, of course, more advanced robotic system is coming into play. So that would help us CCTV a lot further, which we couldn't really do about even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So that would help us in assessment quite a bit. I'm not sure if the funding is an issue at this time. It's just trying to identify the appropriate technology.
Yeah, it may not even be available or
correct.
ripe yet.
Or applicable in some of these scenarios. We also started to do some with engineering, looking at pilot programs to see how we can use a robotic system and repair some of the sewer lines. Rather than having it bypass and do man entry, to see what we can do through machine and how we can do that. So we are looking into that right now actively, and see if we can identify these reaches that we can use this robotic system and or technology to see how we can do that. It is, some of these, for instance, the North Alford sewer is over 100, almost 100 years old, and that system is susceptible to failure quite often, which we are actively repairing on an emergency basis as it happens, while we're planning to do the rest of them. There are areas that we cannot do bypass, or it's difficult to do bypass. And it's extremely expensive, by the way, to do a 40-inch line bypass. It's not that cheap. So it would help us if we can come up with the technology that address that, what you just asked, is that we can do that. So hopefully, within the years to come, we'll be able to identify more, that technology advances enough that we can use some of these issues, address some of these issues.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Jacinto and then Commissioner Davis.
Yeah, thank you, President James. Gentleman Doug, thank you for this report too as well. It's really timely because sitting and working with the Bureau of Engineering and hearing all the briefings of DAR and over the last couple of years and understanding that it's not 20% of the amount, it's 40 to 60. This is a perfect time to do what we need to do to make sure that we have enough resources for you to take care of those difficult to access resources. So I'm always interested to hear the impact that it has on engineering and sanitation working together. We have the guys come in and says, hey, it's more, we need more money, there's more work, and it comes to us, and so we should, this is important that you're telling us and giving us, now is the time that we need to adjust in terms of the projections, the resources, so we can take care of these, the 17 miles. At the point where it happens, and Doug, you mentioned this, the right of entry, I want to make the point that we need to have good people doing this outreach that's able to deal with the homeowners, because these are in difficult access reaches, they're in hillsides, they're in homes where we need, a human touch to be able to work with homeowners to say, hey, what's going to happen? You're going to come onto my property, you're going to dig a hole next to my barbecue? Well, we have a barbecue next week. So those are very important human constituent relations that we don't want to don't want to skimp on. So I would encourage us to make sure that our TOSs that deal with that community outreach are maintained, and we actually increase those as we increase the work. So thank you for this report.
Great point. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. Commissioner Davis?
Just had a couple of questions. First of all, thank you for your report here and also the recommendations and trying to understand them better. The LA Sand requests to have the board to increase construction contingencies on DAR projects. When you say that, what specifically are you requesting again in terms of the increase? Did you state a certain number?
So as part of the standard, we have a 10% contingency.
Right.
But as Doug reported, some of these, that was based on the 20% of DAR that needed to be worked on. But because that percentages have increased, we have, and also the difficulty during the construction phase, right of entry, we have additional CCTV, some of these hindrances, so that would help us to have additional contingency available.
When you say additional, I'm trying to quantify what additional means. What are we talking about?
In terms of percentage?
Yes.
I would say from 10 to 20% maybe.
It's already 10, right?
It's already 10.
So then
Another 10%.
I just want to hear him say it. Okay.
Maybe more in some cases, sir.
I was asking. I wouldn't tell him.
Please do not hold my feet to the fire, but maybe more than 20%.
Okay. Now, the other recommendation you had has to do with the way in which we handle these particular issues of construction. And you've said that we should create super DAR projects and really pull them from the regular construction work that is being done so that primes can focus on completing those projects. I would suggest that in your recommendation you are insinuating to us that they become really a deterrent from prime contractors finishing the project on time. We won't even talk about the budget. However, I want to have a better understanding about the impact of that system system that you're recommending to us, do you believe that in implementing this idea that you are recommending, that it creates ample work for a whole cadre of contractors just doing that cleanup work, I'm going to call it for lack of a better term, and that this work will create for us just a whole stream of industry of great work for people who are going in to clean up these super challenges? Will it be a vibrant area of work, you think, if we change our system?
For sure, there's a possibility that be highly specialized enough for the industry to start. However, most of our the people, contractors who do this type of work are equipped to address those super DARs projects. But it is a possibility that the new industry may start just to address the super DAR projects.
Is there some need for more training of contractors who can do this work?
So the challenges with the DAR projects as a whole is not really the actual project itself.
Correct.
It's the accessibility and how the construction can be done. As Commissioner pointed out, in somebody's backyard next to their pool or their barbecue. That is more of a challenge. So where they have to hand carry, for instance, bricks up the hill, where the equipment cannot go to construct a manhole, a maintenance hole. So it is more labor intensive. There are training. I'm sure that I am certain actually that most of our contractors have that apprentice program in there that they teach the new employees and laborers to do this type of work for them.
I would love to see us to explore how, in fact, this could have even greater impact upon creating new skills for individuals to not only come in and relieve prime contractors, but for us to start new people in the profession that will be of economic benefit to us.
Definitely, we can explore that.
Explore that in some
We
way,
can
as well as accept this recommendation.
For sure, that can be explored.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner
So
Davis.
just one thing, go ahead.
Yes. Anything further? Well, that'll be the oral report.
So I
Yes,
just want to add two things.
Mr. Irvin has two more things.
I do have one item. As part of this DAR program, we were trying to set up field trips for the councils, whoever wanted to go out to the job site and see this. So if you are still interested in going into the site, let Christine Sotelo, the BOE liaison, know so that we could coordinate with WCCD's project manager to set up a date and time that we could take you guys out to the field. And if it's too many, we'll have to schedule different trips.
So, thank you, Jack. And then one last thing, it's Commissioner Jacinto, thank you so much for acknowledging their SSO limits, that less than 100. And I'd be remiss if I don't acknowledge our partners in developing this entire program, which is really engineering and contract administration. We were hand in glove through the 10-year process, and we still are, to implementing all of these projects. And it is, I want to acknowledge their efforts, their partnership in this, and I thank them from the bottom of my heart. I also want to acknowledge to my staff here, Francine Fortezala and Spencer Yu, who from day to day, every day they work on these SSRP projects to implement them. Thank you so much. And go Rams and Chargers.
That's right. Well, I want you to know, since you said that, you notice we have two lapel pins on?
I saw that.
I did wear my Chargers socks and my Rams socks. How about that? Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Yeah, go teams. We are adjourned.